Scotland expresses desire to take construction workers from Bangladesh as a delegation of Scottish Parliament meets Prime Minister Sheikh in Ganobhabon. Election Commission wants all political parties to participate in polls. If BNP wants to take part, Commission will welcome it, says Election Commissioner Rashida Sultana. Political parties including Awami League and Jatiyo Party selling nomination forms amid festivity, with leaders and activists crowding at the respective party offices to collect forms. Festive mood of election has eclipsed BNP's call to boycott polls, says Dr. Hassan Mahmood. And Israel continues attacks on Palestinians amid efforts for ceasefire in Gaza as death toll reaches 13,000. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Musrat Nazib welcoming you to News at 10. You have just heard the headlines. Now we move on to the news in details. Scotland expressed desire to take construction workers from Bangladesh as a six-member cross-party parliamentary group CPG of the country called on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at Ganobhabon this morning. First ever Bangladeshi origin MP of the Scotland Parliament, Faisal Chowdhury, led the delegation at the meeting with the Premier. Later, in a media briefing, Press Secretary Ihsanul Karim said the Scottish parliamentarians, however, observed that language inefficiency is the barrier in taking construction workers from Bangladesh. The Bangladesh Prime Minister said her government has taken various measures through different institutions to teach language and provide vocational and computer trainings to enhance efficiency of the workers. Faisal Chowdhury said Scotland is also keen to invest in the agricultural sector of Bangladesh. The delegation highly appreciated the unprecedented development of Bangladesh under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina during the last 15 years. Ambassador at Large M. Ziauddin and Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister M. Tofazzal Hossain Mia were present. Later, outgoing Maldives High Commissioner to Bangladesh Shiruzimat Samir called on the Prime Minister. During the meeting, Sheikh Hasina stressed cooperation among Bangladesh, Nepal and Maldives for mutual benefits to flourish tourism. The envoy said Bangladesh has huge potential in tourism, particularly in Cox's Bazar, which has the world's longest sandy sea beach. Sheikh Hasina said many Bangladeshi workers have been working in Maldives. They are contributing to both the country's economy, she said. The Prime Minister also conveyed her regards to the newly elected Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu. The Maldives envoy thanked the Prime Minister for her government's all-out support to discharge her duties during her tenure. Relations between Maldives and Bangladesh have reached a new height during her tenure, she said. Election Commissioner Rashida Sultana said if BNP wants to take part in the polls, the Election Commission will welcome it. Talking to journalists at the Election Commission Secretariat today, she said the Commission wants that all political parties take part in the polls. Rashida Sultana also said there is still time to participate in the election and BNP can avail the scope. If BNP takes part in the polls, equal facilities will be ensured for it as per law, added the Election Commissioner.
ওনারা যদি আসেন আমরা ওয়েলকাম করব সেটার জন্য যেভাবে ওনাদের জন্য পথ সৃষ্টি করতে হবে আমরা সেটা আইন দেখে শুনে পথ সৃষ্টি করার পথ বের করব। এখনো স্পেস আছে, ওনারা স্পেস নিতে চাইলে নিতে পারেন। অশান্ত আছে জন্য যেটা শান্ত হবে না এমন কিন্তু কোনো কথা না। ওনারা যদি মনে করেন যে আমরা যাব, সুষ্ঠু একটা নির্বাচন হোক, আমরা অবাধ একটা নির্বাচনে সবাই শরিক হলে শান্ত হয়ে যাবে। আমাদের প্রাণান্ত চেষ্টা থাকবে, আমাদের 100%-এর উপরে যদি আরো কয়েক পার্সেন্ট দিতে হয়, শ্রম, লেবার বা আমরা সবই দেবো। আমরা চাচ্ছি যে আমাদের একটা লেভেল প্লেইং ফিল্ড আমরা সেইভাবে তৈরি করব। যারা অলরেডি নির্বাচনের কথা দিচ্ছেন যে আমরা নির্বাচন করব, পার্টিসিপেট করার জন্য তারা মনোনয়নপত্র কিনছেন অনেকেই, তারা যদি আসে আমাদের তো তাদের জন্য তো লেভেল প্লেইং ফিল্ডটা করতে হবে। আমরা কি শুধু যারা আসতে চাচ্ছে না, হঠাৎ আসতে চাবে তাদের জন্য করবো? নো, সবার জন্যই করবো।
Meanwhile, Election Commissioner said 7,47,322 members of the law and order forces will be on duty in the 12th Jatiyo সংসদ elections. Additional Secretary of Election Commission Ashok Kumar Debnath said This at a press conference at the Election Commission Secretariat in the afternoon today. Earlier, Election Commission held a meeting with the law and order agencies regarding the possible budgets. A huge gathering was seen today at ruling Awami League's 23 Bangabandhu Avenue office in Dhaka in connection with the selling of nomination form of the party for the third day. Nomination aspirants along with their supporters collected forms from the respective divisional wing. Selling and submitting processes of nomination forms for 8 divisions, including Dhaka, were done in 8 booths. Awami League Office Secretary Barrister Biplab Borua said that a total of 709 nomination forms were sold today.
গত শনিবার থেকে বাংলাদেশ আওয়ামী লীগের মনোনয়ন প্রত্যাশীদের মনোনয়ন ফর্ম সংগ্রহ এবং জমাদানের কার্যক্রম শুরু করেছে। আজ তৃতীয় দিনে বাংলাদেশ আওয়ামী লীগের মনোনয়ন ফর্ম সংগ্রহ করেছে মোট 709 জন 709।
Selling and submitting of Awami League's nomination forms will conclude tomorrow. Jatiya Party started selling nomination papers today for the upcoming 12th parliamentary election. Co-chairman of the party, Barrister Anisul Islam Mahmood, inaugurated the form selling program on behalf of the party chairman at their Banani office. Jatiya Party Joint Office Secretary bought the first form for the party's chief patron, Roshan Ershad. Later, leaders coming from different parts of the country collected nomination forms amid festivity. The forms will be available till November 23rd. Selling and submitting of nomination forms of Trinamool BNP went on for the third day among aspirant candidates for the upcoming general elections. Nomination aspirants are collecting their forms from Trinamool BNP's office. Party sources said a total of 138 leaders collected nomination forms to vie for Trinamool BNP so far. Information and Broadcasting Minister and Awami League Joint General Secretary Dr. Hassan Mahmood said the festive mood of election has eclipsed BNP's call to boycott polls. He said this in response to queries from journalists while exchanging views with them at the Secretariat today.
বিএনপি নির্বাচন বর্জন প্রতিহত করার ঘোষণা দিল বিএনপি জামাত যেভাবে উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনার মধ্য দিয়ে আওয়ামী লীগের মনোনয়নপত্র বিক্রি হচ্ছে এবং আমি 1.5 কিলোমিটার হেঁটে গেছি সচিবালয়ে আসার সময় তাও হেঁটে এসেছি গাড়ি নোট ছিল না যেভাবে ব্যাপক উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনা দেখা দিয়েছে সেখানে এই যে তাদের নির্বাচনের বর্জনের যে ডাক সেটি ঢাকা পড়ে গেছে
Responding to another query, Dr. Hassan Mahmood said, after the election, the first task of the government will be to uproot the arsonists because they have turned into enemies of people of the country.
কর্মসূচি ঘোষণা করছেন এগুলো আসলে গাড়ি ঘোড়া পোড়ানোর কর্মসূচি ছাড়া কিংবা সরকারি বেসরকারি সম্পত্তিতে আগুন দেওয়ার কর্মসূচি ছাড়া অন্য কোনো কিছু নয় একটি স্কুলে আগুন দেওয়া হয়েছে স্কুলে আগুন এটি কি কারণ এবং বসে থাকা একটি ট্রেনে আগুন দেওয়া হয়েছে 3টা বগি পুড়ে গেছে এগুলো কোনো রাজনৈতিক দলের কাজ তো নয় এবং এগুলো জঘন্য সন্ত্রাসী দেশ বিরোধী অপতৎপরতা এরা দেশ এবং সমাজের শত্রুতে রূপান্তরিত হয়েছে এবং সবচেয়ে আশ্চর্যজনক ইতিমধ্যে যাদেরকে ধরা হয়েছে কয়েকজনকে তারা বলেছে তারা এই ধরনের আগুন দিলে তাদের দলের মধ্যে প্রমোশন হয় এবং আগুন দেওয়ার ভিডিও ভাঙচুর করার ভিডিও ধারণ করে সেটি নেতাদের কাছে পাঠানো হয় এবং যোগাযোগ থাকলে সেটি লন্ডনেও পাঠানো হয় তো যেই দলে গাড়ি ঘোড়াতে আগুন দিলে মানুষ পুড়িয়ে মারলে প্রমোশন হয় যেই দলের নেতারা আগুনে গাড়ি ঘোড়া পোড়ানোর কর্মসূচি ঘোষণা করেন এরা সবাই দুষ্কৃতিকারী শুধু যারা পোড়াচ্ছে তারা নয় যিনি কর্মসূচি ঘোষণা করছেন তিনিও দুষ্কৃতিকারী এবং এই নেতারা সবাই দুষ্কৃতিকারী আমরা এই আগুন সন্ত্রাসীদের নির্মূল করতে বদ্ধপরিকর। এই দেশে ইনশাআল্লাহ আগামী নির্বাচনের পরে আগুন সন্ত্রাসীদের নির্মূল করা হবে। যদি আমরা সরকার গঠন করতে পারি, নির্মূল করা হবে আমাদের প্রধান কাজ।
The entire country is experiencing high enthusiasm centering the 12th parliamentary election scheduled for January 7th. Voters as well as aspirants for parliament memberships are eagerly waiting to take part in the vote festival. Leaders and activists of different political parties are taking preparations targeting the parliamentary election. Besides, common people are also in a festive mood over the polls to be held on January 7th. Talking to BTV, people said they want to see a free, fair, impartial and peaceful election. Political parties have started selling nomination forms, stalking a festivity among the aspirants and their followers. Two ministers, one state minister and three advisors submitted their resignations. They are Science and Technology Minister Architect Yafiz Osman, Post and Telecommunications Minister Mustafa Jabbar and State Minister for Planning Dr. Shamsul Alam, Economic Affairs Advisor Dr. Mushir Rahman, Power and Energy Affairs Advisor Dr. Tawfiq Ilahi Chaudhry and International Relations Affairs Advisor Dr. Gohar Rizvi. Cabinet Secretary Mohammad Mahbub Al-Hussein said reporters that their resignation will be effective after the issuance of notification. The Cabinet Secretary said the ministers, state ministers and advisors who have submitted their resignations will be able to perform their duties as usual till the issuance of the notification. Chattogram Port Authority has responded to the proposal of a Danish international container shipping and logistic company, Maersk Line, to construct a terminal at Laldia Chor in the river Kornofuli of Potenga. Earlier, Maersk Line company gave a proposal to construct a bay terminal in the river Kornofuli. Talking to BTV, shipping agents said this terminal would be blessing for them. Export and import activities will be very easy once the bay terminal is constructed. They also suggested conducting scrutiny and giving conditions for the greater interests of the country. If the terminal is constructed, Bangladesh can earn a huge amount of foreign currency. Now international news. The Israeli army said on Sunday they were taking their fight against Hamas to additional neighborhoods of the Gaza Strip, where an aerial and ground offensive has already killed 13,000 people, including thousands of children. An Israeli strike on the Indonesian hospital near northern Gaza's Jabalia refugee camp, the territory's largest, killed 12 people, including patients, and wounded dozens more, the Gaza Health Ministry said on Monday. Journalists saw columns of smoke rising from Jabalia on Sunday, one day after a health official said more than 80 people had been killed in twin strikes there, including on a UN school sheltering displaced people. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry director dismissed Israel's claim that it had found a Hamas tunnel at the Al-Shifa hospital, describing it as a pure lie. More than 13,000 people killed in Gaza since Israeli bombardment began on October 7th. In Israel, the official death toll in Hamas's attack stands at about 1,200. Israel seeks to end the Palestinian people's presence on their historical land, Palestine's Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki has said. His comments came as diplomats from Arab and Muslim-majority nations met their Chinese counterparts in Beijing today. Beijing is hosting a delegation of foreign ministers from the Palestinian Authority, Indonesia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Jordan for talks aimed at finding a solution to end the war in the Gaza Strip. The summit, during which China pledged to work to restore peace in the Middle East, is seen as part of a push by Beijing to step up its international role. Foreign Minister Wang Yi told the visiting diplomats that the situation in Gaza affects all countries around the world, questioning the human sense of right and wrong and humanity's bottom line. He urged the international community to act urgently to prevent the war from spreading. China, the host of the summit, has historically been sympathetic to the Palestinians. Yemen's Houthis say they have taken control of a cargo ship in the southern Red Sea as the war in Gaza sends tensions soaring in the region. The Houthis, who control northern Yemen and its Red Sea coast, said the ship was Israeli, but Israel described it as a British-owned and Japanese-operated cargo vessel with no Israeli nationals on board. Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Sari said the seizure of the ship was in response to the heinous acts against our Palestinian brothers in Gaza and the West Bank. Japan has strongly condemned the seizure of a Japanese-operated ship in the Red Sea by Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Meanwhile, Iran dismissed as invalid Israel's accusations that Yemen's Houthi rebels were acting on Tehran's guidance when they seized a Red Sea ship owned by an Israeli businessman. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin arrived in Kyiv on Monday for an unannounced visit to reassure Ukraine that Washington will continue supporting its fight against invading Russian forces. Austin traveled to Ukraine today to meet with Ukrainian leaders and reinforce the staunch support of the United States for Ukraine's fight for freedom. The Pentagon said in a statement on the trip, which was not previously announced due to security concerns. Now some other international news in brief. Iran has unveiled an upgraded version of its Fatah hypersonic missile as the country's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei visited a military exhibition.
Speed of sound and can have that means missile defense systems such as Dome would be less likely to shoot. That means missile defense systems such
South Korea's military warned North Korea on Monday to immediately stop preparations for a spy satellite launch, vowing to take necessary measures if it goes ahead.
It has already made 2 attempts at launches in August.
At least 21 people, including 3 children, died after heavy rainfall inundated the Dominican Republic over the weekend, authorities said on Sunday.
And damaged bridges and parts of
17 provinces.
Australians to receive new COVID vaccines that target sub-variants of the Omicron strain from December as the country reports a surge in cases.
A passionate champion of mental health.
Former U.S. First Lady Rosalind Carter, the wife of former President Jimmy Carter, died Sunday at 96 at the couple's home in the southern state of Georgia, the non-profit organization announced.
Also a devoted mother to 4 children.
Now going back to national news. Traffic movement in the capital remained normal on the second day of the 48 hours Hartal enforced by BNP Jamaat. No impact of Hartal was seen in the capital since early today. All kinds of vehicles, including buses, pickup vans, covered vans and rickshaws, were seen plying in Dhaka streets. There was regular traffic congestion on various important roads, including Farmgate, Shahbag, Polton, Motijil and Gulistan. Meanwhile, activists of BNP Jamaat are carrying out clandestine attacks and arson violence in the name of Hartal. They set fire on 18 vehicles from Sunday to 9 a.m. today. According to the fire service, these arson attacks were carried out in Dhaka, Rajshahi, Bogura, Nator, Chattogram, Mirsharai, Feni and Mymensingh. On Saturday midnight, just prior to beginning of the ongoing 2-day Hartal, a train was set on fire, burning 3 compartments in Shoishabari Upazila of the Jamalpur district. On the same night, a truck in Bogura was set on fire. Last night, a bus was set on fire in Bhabaniganj of Nator by the supporters of the Hartal. Reports say as many as 194 arson incidents have so far been carried out since October 28th. Dengue situation is not in improving trend in Bangladesh as 5 died during the last 24 hours. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services said among the dead, 3 was in Dhaka and 2 were outside Dhaka. 1,197 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 286 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 911 patients outside Dhaka. Now weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said weather may remain mainly dry with temporary partly cloudy sky over the country. Having chances of light rain is likely to occur at 1 or 2 places over Khulna, Borishal and Chattogram divisions. Night temperature may rise by 1 to 2 degrees Celsius over the southern part and it may remain nearly unchanged elsewhere over the country. Day temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. Scotland expresses desire to take construction workers from Bangladesh as a delegation of Scottish Parliament meets Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in Ganobhavan. Election Commission wants all political parties to participate in polls. If BNP wants to take part, Commission will welcome it, says Election Commissioner Rashida Sultana. Political parties including Awami League and Jatiyo Party selling nomination forms amid festivity with leaders and activists crowding at the respective party offices to collect forms. Festive mood of election has eclipsed BNP's call to boycott polls, says Dr. Hassan Mahmood. And Israel continues attacks on Palestinians amid efforts for ceasefire in Gaza as death toll reaches 13,000. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. And we invite you to watch our 11:30 p.m. Bangla News. Until then, Khoda Hafez.